Gretchen, we have a constitution the president has to follow, Congress has to follow, you and I have to follow. And it sends a bad message to all Americans, especially those who want to come to this country, that it's okay to not follow the law, to not follow the Constitution. The president has to follow it. He does not have the authority to write the law. That is Congress's responsibility.
All right, that's the governor of the great state of Texas. He was the attorney general. I want to just set the table here. I don't want to ignore the real significance of the Supreme Court decision yesterday, the 4-4 tie, effectively blocking Obama's illegal, unconstitutional executive amnesty. He sought to shield millions of people in this country from deportation. The Texas-led 26 Republican-dominated states in challenging the program, and Obama announced this in 2014. Republicans in Congress, they were weak and timid and wouldn't defund it, so it took the courts. But when they tried the courts and abdicated their responsibility on Obamacare, that didn't work out as well as this did. Well, he's now the governor. He was the attorney general at the time. Greg Abbott is with us. How are you, Governor? How are you? Well, thank you so much for what you did here.
Well, thank you, Sean. Great to be back with you again.
It's a huge, huge blow to Obama's illegal, unconstitutional actions. You know what bothers me more than anything in this case, though? I've got a tape of the president 20, 25 times saying he did not have the authority to do this. And then he did it anyway. So he doesn't really care about the Constitution. That's my conclusion after listening to him.
It demonstrates the crisis we're in our country right now. Remember this, this is not the only issue on which he's done this. He did the very same thing with regard to the Clean Power Plan, trying to use the EPA to cram down his global warming agenda in the United States. And it was the very week that Justice Scalia passed away that the Supreme Court put a hold on that particular issue. And so this is a recidivist behavior on the part of this president, repeatedly saying, if Congress will not act, if Congress will not write a law the way that I want it written, then he is going to write it himself. That turns the Constitution on its head. It is necessary not just for attorneys general. It's necessary for Congress. It's necessary for all Americans that we
but Congress didn't
hold the president accountable to follow the laws.
You did the right thing. You had the courage of your convictions. Republicans in Congress, they said, oh, give us the Senate. We'll defund executive amnesty. Well, they got the Senate in 2014. That was their main promise, and they backed down. That troubles me almost as much as Obama being so willing to not follow the Constitution and the rule of law.
Well, we will not always have the luxury of being able to have some backstop, such as attorneys general, come forward and file lawsuits. Among other things, sometimes the courts dismiss our lawsuits as though we don't have standing or the grounds to bring a lawsuit to begin with. And so we do have to have people in Washington, D.C. with a backbone who are going to hold the executive branch of government accountable. And if you go back to Alexander Hamilton, he said the most powerful tool any government has is the power of the purse. And Congress needs to start exercising its power of the purse to hold this president accountable.
Well, I think you did a great job. I think, the fact that you led this effort and was successful. But you're right. I mean, the courts oftentimes say there's no standing. You get a liberal judge or justice, you get yourself in trouble. And it's frustrating that Republicans have been so timid.
I can give you one example, and that is Texas sued for recovery of all the money, more than billions of dollars that we have spent to secure the border, to educate people who are in this country illegally, to provide health care for them, for those who are in the country illegally. This is coming out of Texas taxpayer dollars, and we wanted the federal government to cover the cost, and the court threw the case out of court, saying we didn't have the legal authority to assert such a claim.
Yeah, well, you really should, considering it's impacting your bottom line as a state. And look, I was down there with Governor Perry, your predecessor, and 625,000 crimes committed against Texans in an 8-year period of time. I sat through the briefing that Obama should have sat through, and it's frustrating. Let me ask you a very maybe off-topic question. You saw Brexit and this big vote in Great Britain last night and yesterday. Here, I keep reading every once in a while. I'm just doing my research that there is a secession effort in Texas. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it ever gets to the point that the good people of Texas and their values of freedom separate themselves from the United States and go on their own?
Candidly, Sean, what I think is that what Texans believe in is that we need the United States to be more like Texas. In fact, I believe America longs to be the way that Texas is, and we need Texas brand.
Governor, I'm going to tell you, I'm up in New York, and I'd rather be a Texan.
Right.
But I'm telling you right now, I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Well, there are Sean Hannitys across this country, and all we got to do is have the backbone to stand up and steer this country back on the right course.
I could talk till I'm blue in the face. I'll be dead. There's no way New York is ever going red. Well, it's not going to happen.
And even if New York doesn't go red, Sean, you know this, and that is there are at least 30, maybe more than 30 Republican states that are run by Republican conservative legislatures in this country right now. We have the people, we have the power. We just need to have the willpower to get this done. But we can do it, and Texas will take the leadership role, just like we did in this case against Barack Obama, to ensure that we steer this country back on the right course. And you brought up Brexit. Listen, this is something that's going on not just in the United States. This is something that's going on across the entire globe, and there's a reason for it. And that is because sovereignty is a key component of a nation, and we've seen the United States, we've seen Great Britain, we've seen countries in Europe sacrifice their sovereignty, and we've seen the way their citizens have suffered because of it. Asserting sovereignty of a state, of a nation, is essential, and that is what America must do to put our country back on the right track.
Governor, I want to thank you for leading this effort and the other 26 Republican-dominated states for challenging this and winning. You did us a great service. Thank you, sir. You're a great American.
Thank you, Sean.
800-9